Welcome back to the Sassy Ladies podcast. I am your host, your local alien. Today, I have a topic for you that definitely needs to be talked about more in this modern age because despite all the advancements that women and in particular black women are making, you still see the echoes of history where we're still just being held back. And so today's topic is going to focus on that. And the main focus is black women, stop being servants, stop allowing yourself to be used, stop allowing yourself to just only serve the purpose of somebody else, especially a man that just sees you as a way to boost himself forward or to get things for himself without any consideration for what you need or how to improve your life at all or help you reach your goals. And so, I think that we all know that person who they're working full time, they have a side business, doing hair, doing nails, babysitting, whatever, and then maybe they even have kids on top of that or whatever other responsibilities they have to do. And yet somehow they always have at least one man in their life, whether it's a lover, brother, other family member, whoever, who is doing nothing. They're not doing anything. So you have this woman who's doing everything, never has time to even pick up the phone and call her mom, but you have this guy who has no ambitions, no goals, just feeding off of her, just waiting for her to get successful, not for the sake of promoting her, but rather for the sake of leeching off of her, waiting for her to do all the work so that he can just kind of be along for the ride. And that takes on different forms. That can be the guy who's just sleeping in her bed because he has been looking for a job for 7 months and hasn't really made any effort and is just relying on her paycheck, or even worse, if she's on some sort of government assistance, Section 8, then, he is too, unofficially. And so she's risking being kicked out, being removed from whatever program because he's there, not contributing. You have to keep it a secret, all that stuff. And she's over here, going to school and raising kids and all this and that. And so the question is, why? If you are in this situation, why? Why do you continue to put all of your energy, all of your skill set into somebody who is not willing to do the same thing for you? Why do you continue to be an unpaid servant to the other people in your life, in particular the men who are capable of doing things on their own, but who are just trying to rely on you? And so I have pulled up a little article here that I had come across that emphasizes what I'm saying here. So this is from a website that seems to, talk about black issues a fair amount. However, this particular piece, written by a woman, says empowering black men, how black women can help them thrive. And that alone, the very concept there of your purpose as a black woman is to empower black men, not how can black men and women help each other, not how the black community as a whole can boost one another. It's how black women can help black men thrive. What happens to the women? No one cares, because the role of the woman is just to lift up the man. And so this whole article here is just talking about the sacrifices that have been made. It talks about the man's role as fathers, mentors, all that stuff. And then it goes into a list of ways that black women can support black men, going from emotional support to celebrating achievements, collaboration and mentorship, financial empowerment, by supporting Black-owned businesses and encouraging financial literacy, and by investing in and patronizing Black enterprises. Um, it says, as Black women, our support, advocacy, and collaboration are crucial in helping them, Black men, thrive. By providing emotional support and everything else that was listed, we create a nurturing environment that allows Black men to reach their full potential. And then this is the end of the article. The rest is just the person's background. But that's your take, is just, hey, by doing all of this stuff, we can help Black men reach their full potential. Nothing about empowering young girls, nothing about helping other Black women, none of that. It's all just focused on, hey, Black women, sacrifice everything, go out of your way to help a Black man thrive. Nothing about how to improve yourself, nothing about how to improve your children, especially your daughters' lives, none of that. And so we run into this issue where in the modern day, the Black woman is still meant to support everyone else. We're meant to use our money to support the businesses of other races, and even within our own race, we're meant to just uplift the Black man and help the Black man achieve all of his goals. And oh, behind every strong man is a woman. Okay, but when does the woman get to achieve her goals? Because her goals definitely go beyond just taking care of the man and the children. But that's not where the focus is, because it's just treated as, okay, Black woman, your role is support the Black man. Your value is in relation to how you serve that Black man. And a lot of women are still feeding into this and wondering why they have this growing frustration. It's because you are a servant. Whether you realize it or not, your life is that of servitude. And so the question is, who's serving you? You're doing all of this for everyone else, for all these other businesses and companies and everyone asking for your help. But who's helping you? And oftentimes, the only person helping a Black woman is another Black woman, or maybe a family member. But Black women are expected to help everyone else. All the rest of society is wanting the support of Black women, but they're not giving it in turn. And so I have another article here that does touch more on this aspect of things, just the disproportionate nature of it. And this is directed at Black men in particular. We Black women have your back. Why don't you have ours? And so this is written by a woman. It's an older article, but to just kind of highlight what it talks about here, it just goes into that disproportionate nature. And it says, true to double standards, Black men are, however, free to attack Black women's character and then collectively smash our esteem into millions of pieces. And that is what you often see, where Black women are expected to support Black men, but there's not an expectation for the opposite. And oftentimes when Black men do receive that support and are pushed forward, they don't pay it back to the Black women that supported them. And so this person goes on to say that Black men are one of the most toxic, hateful, and demeaning groups to their own community, but to Black women especially. For centuries, Black women have been the spine that helped to hold Black men up as they walked into the world that feared their beauty, their glory, and their history. And so it just talks a little bit more about the history of all of this, and I encourage you guys to read this article for yourselves. It's on a site called Eurotango, but it just kind of talks about how something shifted over time. This isn't what it always was. So now, Black women have gone from being held more in a higher light to now we're just there to be the Black man's shadow. And so this author says that black men take their anger and aggression out on black women, but they believe that on an unconscious level, the black men who do this are actually more upset with themselves for failing. And that is something that we see as well. Black men who are frustrated with not being where they want to be in life, not having the kind of success that they were hoping to have, they do take that out on their partners, on their children, their siblings, their mom even. Um, and it's not even about anything the woman did, it's just that's the target. Because if they're looking for somebody who's on a lower rung than them, a lower place in society, well, there they go, right there in their own home, in their own community. That's their target. That's the place that they're going to channel all of their aggression. And that just further prevents the black woman from being able to thrive. And a lot of black men will get offended and feel insecure if the black women in their lives are more successful. And that doesn't even mean having your own business or anything like that. It can just mean you have a stable job and a house and you're doing okay financially. Even that, if he's not achieved that, then it can make him insecure and it can make him want to sabotage you. It can make him want to find ways to prevent you from being able to maintain that stability, because he wants to drag you down to right where he is. And so this just continues to talk a bit more about systemic issues and how it goes back to slavery and talking about toxic masculinity. But a lot of those prejudiced thoughts that were rooted in slavery do continue to persist among black men. And here it talks about the misogyny. And so here it talks about they repost images with our faces, our curvy hips. They tell us we're whores and less than. They've carried on the practice of hypersexualizing black women, and they deem black women less than if they're not a certain skin tone. They deem black women as unworthy if we can't find the line between being independent and dependent that best helps them overcome their shortcomings. And that's a big thing right there, where they claim to want an independent woman, but a lot of them want a mom. A lot of them want somebody who's going to take care of them, but also let them do whatever they want and not stand up to it. A lot of them can't handle a truly independent black woman. And so that's why they then turn against black women and say, oh, I can't date a black woman. And then look at other groups of people, especially women that come from other cultures where they are forced to be more submissive and quiet and just allow the man to do whatever. They start to seek that out, not because there's something that they actually value in that woman, but rather because they want the woman for specific purposes and then want to be able to ignore her or disregard her at any other point in time. And what they're not liking is that in this modern age, black women aren't standing up for that anymore. Black women aren't allowing that as much as in the past. And so a lot of them are just swearing off black women because they don't want to change. They would rather just find a new victim. And so a lot of emphasis that black men place on black women does have to do with how attractive you are to them, how much of a status symbol you bring to them. This is something that men in general tend to do, but especially with black men, whenever you do see a black man lifting up his black wife or girlfriend or fiance in their, in the public eye, it's often from a standpoint of, ooh, look what I got. Ooh, isn't she hot? Oh, look at what I managed to catch in the ocean. It's so very rarely from the perspective of, wow, my wife is so accomplished and independent and kind, and she just achieved this, and I'm so proud of her. You don't really see that. It's always more about how to show off to other men, and try to make other men jealous because, ooh, she's so hot and she serves you well, and ooh, she just made you a whole dinner without complaining about you having your nasty feet up on the coffee table and leaving your fungus all over the surface. That's what they view as, the ideal wife, is just do what I say, serve me, and don't have a problem with it. And that's why a lot of them do start looking at other cultures without any respect for that culture and understanding what their role would be if they were to, marry somebody of that culture, because they're not willing to change themselves. And so let's go back to what I was talking about before, that woman that's working two jobs, taking care of the house, everything else, and he's not doing anything. He's searching for jobs on his PlayStation 5. Then what you encounter is he thinks, oh, I'll have a woman that nags me less if I look at these other cultures. But he's not realizing that he needs to play his own role as the man. He needs to become the provider. He needs to be the one who's financially supporting that woman entirely. And they're not doing that either. They aren't fulfilling their own traditional gender roles, but then they also demand that women do. And they want a woman to support them emotionally, financially, physically, but they're not trying to do the same thing for her. They expect her to just be all right with her whole life revolving around him and what he wants, and just making things as easy as possible for him in his own life, and in helping to advance his career and his public image. But it is very rarely returned. And so, my message to black women is stop being servants, stop allowing yourself to be chained to somebody who truly doesn't care about your advancement. Somebody who has an issue every time you say, oh yeah, I'm looking at this new job that pays more, or I want to go back to school, or, I'm wanting to join these classes and learn this and that. If he has an issue, or if his first thought is, well, wait, I have to do this. No, he does not care about your advancement, because if you really want to support somebody's advancement, your first thought isn't going to be, well, what about me? And that is what we see a lot of people who claim to support the women in their lives, but when those women have an opportunity to advance, they're immediately thinking about themselves. Oh, well, if you do that, then I won't be able to do blah, or oh, so once you do have that nicer paying job, then I'll be able to get a car, I'll be able to do this and that. They just see everything the woman does and has and obtains as a way to further themselves, as a way to reap the benefits without having to put any work in themselves, without having to make any sacrifices themselves. And they have gone into this habit of thinking that that is the role of the woman, that that is what the woman enjoys doing, that that is what the woman's supposed to do. And it's time that we stop letting them think that. Stop being servants to these people in your life that just act as though you are only there, that you only exist to further them, and they never reciprocate at all. Stop allowing yourself to be the one that brings success towards other people, but then you're still struggling just the same as you were before. If you're not benefiting, if you're not advancing yourself at all, then why are you putting so much effort into advancing somebody else who's just going to forget about you once they reach the level of success that they're looking for? If they want to reach that success, they can do it themselves, because you're having to do it yourself. You're putting all of your time, energy, money into other people, but then you're left with nothing. And so if you want to find success, you have to do it yourself. But for everyone else, they expect you to help them. And so, black women, it's 2026. Let's not carry this energy into 2027. Let's say, hey, this is what I'm doing to improve myself. What are you doing? Oh, you want to do this and that? Okay, well, get started on that. What you're waiting for me to do something? No, you can get started on that yourself. Okay, you have the same hands and feet that I have. You can get started on that. Why are you waiting for a woman to have to push you to improve yourself? If you can't do it on your own, then that means you're just not going to reach that level of success. We need to stop helping these people who don't want to help themselves by helping them reach whatever their goals are and then just being left on our own without having accomplished what we needed to do. And so I'm going to end here with just that message of take a look at the people who are in your life and think about how much you've done for them, how much you've sacrificed for them, and who are the ones that have just tried to support you, even if they didn't have much, at least just encouraging you, versus the ones who you tell them something, they're not really listening, they disregard it, and then it goes straight back to what they want, what they need, what you can do for them. Or the people who want you to put in a lot of energy to help them reach their goals, but they've not said a single thing about how they're going to help you, about how they're going to reciprocate what you've given them, but they keep talking about how you can improve their situation or how you can aid them in their goals. If it's not proportionate, then that's a problem. That's a problem that you need to see and back out, because there are a lot of people that would support you. And instead of putting your time and energy towards somebody that only sees you as a tool and will disregard you the moment they no longer need that tool, then put that energy towards somebody that actually values you and what you can bring. Sorry. And who just genuinely wants you to find success. Not just saying it, but they actually mean like, hey, yeah, I do want you to be able to boost yourself forward as well. And so you helped me with this, I'm helping you with that, and let's grow together. That is what you need to find more of in your life. And if you're looking around, especially at the men in your life who are capable of doing things on their own, but they keep insisting that they need a woman to push them forward, or to give them a roof over their head or whatever else, those are the people you don't need to have in your life, because they are just going to try to drag you down and take everything that you've earned for yourself. And then if they do manage to reach some success, some accomplishment, they're going to say that it was all them, or they might just give you a little shout out, but they're not going to put that same time, energy, and money into you that you put into them. It will never be reciprocated. And so I'll leave you with that to just think on. Comment below who that person is in your life, because we all know someone like that. Or comment on the person that you know who's working 2 jobs, taking care of the kids, and they just have a leech sleeping in their bed. Let me know who these people are in your life, and what you've done to prevent yourself from being chained down, or what your wake-up moment was when you realized that you were given everything and getting nothing in return. So I'd love to hear from you guys, but that is all for this version of the Sassy Ladies podcast today. Let me know what other topics you want me to cover in terms of Black women, women's health, women's issues, Black community, things like that. Upcoming video is going to be on the recent family massacre that occurred, because that is definitely another thing that doesn't get talked about enough by women. You see a news story, and then everyone forgets it a couple days later, but it is often a problem that women hope they never have to deal with, but one day they just don't wake up because their husband murdered them and all their kids in the middle of the night. And it is a very, very strong gender divide. It's like at least 3/4 of family massacres are committed by men. So it is a very gender-based issue. And so if you're interested in hearing about that and hearing my thoughts on it, tune into the next video that I do. But for now, just remember, don't be a servant and do what you have to do to push yourself forward.